Okay, a huge welcome to all grade 9 students from Somerset Intermediate School. This marks the beginning of the four grade 9 math teachers trying to provide for you Reachback assignments 3 days a week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So Ms. Gerard, Mr. Pendleton, and Mr. McNeil, as well as myself, Mr. McDonald, are going to provide questions on Monday and Wednesday. The expectation, as we're going to see here, is going to be fairly consistent during the next little while we have this quarantine. But if you'd like, at the bottom here, I've typed in a little URL for the question. So if you want to go in your web browser and type tinyurl.com/reachback3, you can be taken to a PDF copy of today's questions. If you don't want to do that or you don't have the ability to do that, what you can do is just watch this video. We're going to go through the questions one at a time. Just press pause, write down the question, preferably on one side of a piece of paper, because as you're going to see, the expectation is going to be that once you've answered all of the questions, you're going to take a photo of your work and you're going to email that photo on Monday and then on Wednesday as well to your math teacher. So either Mr. Pendleton, Ms. Gerard, Mr. McNeil, or myself. In the subject of your email, you're going to write your full name and which reachback it is. Now note here, you're going to be sending it to the EDU.PE.CA email, not the cloud, but that email. That way we're going to get all of your emails in one place. So once we have your work, on Tuesday we're going to provide the answers to Monday's questions, and on Thursday we're going to provide Wednesday's answers. And the expectation for you is that you correct your own work, note any mistakes you made. So you're going to either use post-it notes or highlighters or just a red pen or a blue pen, and you're going to make a note and copy down the work that you should have done or could have done to get the right answer if you did get it wrong. And hopefully through repetition we have mastery. So with that said, we have 8 questions, I believe, today, one from each chapter. Now for Mr. McNeil's students and my own students, Mr. McDonald's class, chapter 1 is something we didn't cover, but in Ms. Gerard's class and Mr. Pendleton they did. So for Mr. McNeil and Mr. McDonald students, if you'd like to try it, go ahead and see if you can do it anyway, and it will help you because it is a chapter you didn't do, so you might be able to learn from these questions. So question 1 comes from chapter 1 on symmetry and surface area. What is the angle of rotation of this picture and the order of rotation of the shape? Okay. Please show all your work and what your thought process was for doing that. Question 2 comes from chapter 2 in rational numbers. It says solve, and then in bold, italicized, underlined instructions, it says without using a calculator. Show all work to prove you solved without technology. So it says the square root of 9/25 plus negative 0.2. So you should be able to do that without technology. Show all of the work and all of the thinking that you did in order to get that. And you can express your answer either as a decimal or, if you prefer, as a fraction. Question 3 comes from the chapter 3 on powers and exponents. Using exponent laws, and it's underlined for you, simplify this expression to a single power. So do not simplify it by finding out what 6 to the exponent of 4 is valued at. Use your exponent laws to figure out what it is as a single power. Not as a number, but as in exponential form. You need to express your answer in exponential form. Question 4 from chapter 5 on adding and subtracting polynomials. It says, what is an expression in simplest form for the perimeter of this rectangle? Now, ideally, you will use a formula. And if you wanted to use a formula, you could use 2 lengths plus 2 widths. Or, alternatively, you could just add up all the sides together. But that's what perimeter means. So your job for this one is to figure out what is the simplified value of the perimeter, meaning gather all like terms. Question 5 for Mr. Pendleton and Ms. Gerard's students. You did not tackle this question yet, but I think Mr. McNeil and Mr. McDonald's students were midway through working through this chapter. So if you have the ability to do it, please do so. It's actually an extension of grade 8 math, so it's not really, this isn't really a grade 9 question, it's really a grade 8 question. So most of you should be able to do it, including those who have not tackled chapter 6 and grade 9 yet, because it is all of the skills you needed to have in grade 8. So find the relationship between x and y, meaning make an equation that shows the relationship between x and y. Some advice for this one, I would first make a table of values of the 4 coordinates that are there. Question 6 is like question 4, except this time it's asking you to calculate in simplest form the area of this rectangle. So we're using multiplication and division of polynomials this time instead of addition and subtraction. So find the area of this rectangle. And question 7 comes from chapter 8 on solving linear equations. Solve for x. In this particular equation, you have variables on both sides, and you also have fractions. So for those of you who need a little bit of a hint, if you'd like one, multiplying both sides by a common multiple of the denominators does allow you to rewrite this as an equation that does not have fractions in it. So that would be my advice. And finally, question 8 comes from chapter 9 on linear inequalities. It says solve for all values of x. Show your solution on a number line. So again, here we have an equation, inequality, and it says all numbers divided by -2 plus 3 are going to have a value less than or equal to -7. So x in this particular inequality has infinite values. Once you've isolated for x, express your solution on the number line below. Okay, that's it. That's all you have to do. So for some of you who have 7 questions, I would advise you all to try all 8. And when you are done, please take a picture of your work, preferably on one photo, but if you need to take 2 photos because you printed off the page, that's fine. And send it to your respective math teachers at EDU.PE.CA. So if it's Mr. Pendleton or Miss Gerard or Mr. McNeil or Mr. McDonald, send it to them and make sure you put your name and Reachback 3 in the heading of your email. Good luck to everyone. Your video solution will be posted tomorrow.